Let's see what good old Gary V has to say today. I'm sure it'll be interesting. Shoveling shit,
If
brilliant.
they could live within their financial means, but they're not willing to sell their home and downsizing their home. They're not willing to take the BMW and bring it back.
They're keeping up with the Joneses.
This is a big one. How far are you willing to go? Are you willing to make true sacrifices? And remember, sacrifices mean sacrifice. It means it hurts. Like, are you willing to eat some pain, shovel some shit to actually get the outcome you want? Or do you only want to take the easy route? And this doesn't mean that you have to go sprint on the treadmill, but you do have to walk on it. There's no negotiating with the treadmill. If you want to burn those calories, get on. Doesn't mean you have to run, but it means you must act. And guess what? Even walking is going to hurt a little bit. But again, it's the pain you can tolerate is the reward you'll achieve.
I believe the keeping up with the Joneses thing is the great pandemic of our society.
100%.
I really believe that.
Agreed.
And
this happens in banker life all the time, where investment bankers, they make a good amount of money, but they have to spend a ton, right? Especially on the weekends. You don't spend a ton Monday to Friday, but then it's Friday and you're like, woo, first day off in 2 weeks. Let's go spend $2K. Let's go spend $500 on dinner. And it's like, well, there goes the money, right? So if you keep your expenses tight with your revenue, you're actually poor. Like, you're functionally poor, meaning you can live your life, but if anything goes wrong, or if you wanted to make a decrease in something, it's like, well, can I take a little revenue hit? It's like not when our average price of our apartment has doubled and your rent has only gone up by 60%. Like, we're living thin here.
it's why I never share any content ever in my career. Never have. That speaks to anything bougie. What do you feel?
Bougie is boring.
What's your read?
I think, well, first of all, you pushed us to tell us that this was going to be a grind. Like, you told me it was going to be a grind.
Yep.
I love grinds.
I like this guy's glasses.
I really do.
Stylish.
I think it like connects to that like athlete in me that just wants to like practice,
She's a warrior.
practice, and take the reps and do them.
Ask me what my favorite thing that I've accomplished in my life is.
Jesus,
What is
Gary.
Beating Nate Schroeder in tennis twice when he was beating me 5-1 in a set to 6. Twice, Nate. Twice.
He's talking shit right here.
It's so great.
There's nothing
So
better
Gary.
in life than to come down from 5-1 or 5-love to win a set. It feels like everything.
yes.
I dare you
You have to remember, though, this is,
to let
I'm
me
going to mute
build
this
you.
part. This is spoken by the winner. Remember, it's one of those, everybody loves the challenge, but in order to be able to win, where winning matters, there have to be conditions where you can lose. So if Gary was guaranteed this win, I guarantee he wouldn't have mentioned the story. But because he could have lost, I'm sure in his mind, and again, it's the winner psychology, performance coaching, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, he probably like, I will definitely win. Like, it'll be a cold day in hell before I walk away without without a W. It's like, sure, that's good psychology. And, it probably helps you get over a lot of humps. More people win thinking that thought than not thinking that thought. But that doesn't mean that thought is infallible. It means that thought is, the goal is to manifest will, right, in a big way.
Yeah.
And I told you that's what this was going to
Yes, and it is. And I don't think I was surprised by it, but I do think that selling a book is very hard. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
No one tells you about the selling. The easy part was writing it.
Doing anything.
And it was fun coming.
The easy parts, creating your website, building your little product. Like, people think that tech development's the problem. Tech is fun. The dorks that do dev work, who I love, to be very clear. Thank you for all the things that you do in making my life easy. But it's one of those, that's the fun thing. Like, that's an engineer loves building stuff. You're not punishing them. Like, they may complain, but they like to complain. It's part of their shtick. The real work, the hard part, again, is the advertising, is the marketing. Again, I'm not saying it's easy to do what the tech people do, but you like to write a book because you're producing. The act of using a wrench, using a pen, giving something life or a voice, it's amazing. It's, powerful. But now to have that received in the world, that is a battle to a war. You just cannot even compare the two.
Coming up with the name.
Yeah, so we did this the way we do any company. We went all in.
Yes, you did.
And
You have
full
to.
transparency. We've sold about 10,000 copies,
Yes.
which we're told is good. We think it's not enough.
Yep.
And we're going to continue to work. We were sitting around.
That energy it's one of those, how much is enough? Blah, blah, blah. The people that sell 100,000 books, unless they're just, funneling them out, it's like the reason they do is because it's never enough. It's like, why doesn't Elon Musk and every other billionaire stop? It's because they can't, because it ceased being about the money. It's about adding another win to the scoreboard and then beating that scoreboard and turning a new page and then filling that page with wins. It's probably the closest thing to like an addiction, a positive addiction. And again, sometimes it can be very unhealthy because you win so hard you neglect your kids, in which case you're a loser. But it's one of those, sometimes that hunger for winning, again, we wouldn't have half the things, a quarter of the things that you have in your home or any of the equipment in front of you or any of the lights in front of me if someone wasn't hungry as hell at some point.
Around this weekend, and we said, why aren't we selling this to the real people who need it?
Right.
And if you are doing a company and you're not willing to go to your local park and ask for the purchase, you don't believe in your company.
Yeah.
So
If you won't show up and rep your brand and wear that shirt proudly, because remember, just because you don't have a lot doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your company. The only time to feel embarrassed of your company is if you know you're a fraud, is if you know you have no substance. And being out there trying to learn and saying, we want to build something, for the fitness industry. We want to build this great IP. We want to do this. Like, there's pride in that. It's the beginning of the journey, right? It's only a problem when you go out there like you're the big dog, and in reality, you're just wearing, a big suit of paper mache, and all it takes is a little push, and all of a sudden, you're toast.
we grabbed a table, made a sign,
Yes, I saw
went to our park. It was not staged.
Also, who doesn't want to meet the
Analyze
founder?
I did. I made the sign.
Want to meet some
Quickly
shitty
under
sales
his
development rep? It's
no,
like, who
really,
cares?
listen,
I want to meet the
perfect is not what's
CEO.
about.
By the way, I didn't say I analyzed it poorly.
Yeah.
And Cass
said I
was like,
analyzed the
she was
sign.
laughing, but I was sitting there like,
You're an
get
entrepreneur.
your free books, get your free advice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, people would come up and they're like, who are you? Oh, we've only had about $10 billion of
And we-
exits. And they're like, wait, what the fuck?
But here's the crazy part.
It was fun. I loved it.
We, like Mike and I, there was
I don't know who these people are. I'm sure they're like super rich and famous. Be cautious. Just a little word to the wise or the wannabe wise. Don't just take things at face value. I know a lot of people that have billions of dollars in exits and they don't know nothing about nothing. They have no skill. They have title. And there's a huge distinction. Now, these two are I'm sure they wouldn't be sitting with Gary if they weren't like real entrepreneurs, because I'm sure Gary would put them through the ringer if they weren't, because he's clearly a real entrepreneur. You may hate his little trash talk things where he goes and does the buying and the flipping, but it's like, yeah, but this is a guy that can do every level of his business, probably with a little bit of Adderall in him, but it's like he could do every level. That's why he's the king. Right. And that's why he has respect through his whole food chain.
nobody else carried a 40-pound table into
heavy,
Central Park, like 100 yards. Like, that's not,
That's shoveling shit.
it's shoveling shit.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is we've said yes to everything. We, podcasts,
The humble brag
events.
of living 100 yards from Central Park, I thought was the best part of that.
Flexing. The other thing that you think about is just what looks difficult is more difficult emotionally than it is physically often. Because it's like, again, what two rich people that were already rich walked to the park with a 40-pound table, could have snapped their fingers how one of their butlers do it. Like, let's cut the shit, right? It's like, but the emotion of, are we really going to go sit out there? Like, we could be at the tennis court. Are we really going to sit there like schmucks and sell this? It's like, yeah, schmucks, get to work, build that brand. How far are you willing to go? If you've got all the money in the world and you don't need it, then great, don't do it. Go home, enjoy your money. But if you're still hungry, you got to pull up to eat.
Little moment. Keep going, Mike.
It just happens to be our local park, but it doesn't matter what your park is. Like, if your park is in like Cleveland, go to your park. We happen to have 18 million people come through our park.
Yeah.
And we basically have just worked, and we created a V2 Mom, which is vision, value, methods, obstacles, which we
For the
talked about in
book.
the book. And we said, we want to be a bestseller. How are we going to be a bestseller? We got to put in the work. So
Yep.
it's for us, it's speaking, getting on stages,
Yep.
it's podcasts.
Yep.
And most importantly, it's asking people for the purchase.
That.
A lot of people don't ask
It's really
people
good
to buy
advice.
You know,
whatever
that
the
was my
product
number
is.
one.
Yep.
Yeah. And
No one's going to ask the girl on a date for you And if they do, it's probably not going to work that well. It's like having a sales rep. It's like, yeah. But it's like, you have to pull the trigger. And it doesn't matter if you do it poorly. Doesn't matter if you do it confidently. It matters that you do it. One of the things that I give like my mentees and apprentices advice is, I don't care if you do it scared. I care that you do it alone. Be out there alone and scared, and then do it anyway, because you're already alone and scared. Like, you're already by yourself and terrified. Like, how much worse could it get if you just did the thing? What? The person hits you in the face? It's like, you've been hit in the face before. Even if the worst thing that could happen, which isn't going to happen, happened, there's proof previously that you lived it. Like, you're crying internally. There is no external threat.
And
Text
so,
every person.
Text every single
Andrew
person.
Anderson to
Yes.
Zarley Zagowski.
and what's incredible, you're talking about disappointments. There are people who we made $80 million.
80 million. 80.
$80 million
talked about
fucking dollars.
Yep, I talk about this all the time.
That just said no.
Did not buy a book.
Yeah.
Said that we don't have a budget
Mike,
for
you're
books.
getting really loud.
No, he's right.
I will never forget that. I'll never forget you beating Nate. I'll never forget me beating Cass in pickleball. And I'll
Uh-oh,
never
Cass.
forget
He's
the
never-
people who didn't buy
He's
books.
never beat.
Just because you're rich doesn't mean that you're willing to spend. And it doesn't mean you know how to invest. Some people just have trust funds and are dumb as hell. That's just the way it goes. Intelligence is at every level: rich, poor, black, white, green, purple, disabled, abled, all the whatever it is today. It's like, wherever you are, you can be smart or you can be dumb as hell. You can be hardworking and you can be lazy as hell. It's up to you. And here's the nice thing: you don't have to stay on either side. You can be really scrappy and smart as a kid, and then you get rich, become a fat cat, and stop learning, and now you're kind of dumb, right? Or maybe you just don't use that knowledge anymore and it starts to rust. Likewise, you could have been dumb as hell through high school, but then you go, I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm tired of seeing people be rich on Instagram. How do I do this thing? And not like a shitty, how do I flip and do drop shipping tomorrow and make $100 grand? Like, how do I develop skills? How do I develop a vision? How do I build my own business? How do I offer a service, a product, a technology that leads to something? Well, you take that first step.
Beating me in pickleball.
Who we did stuff for. And I'm not transactional. You know that. We give. But when I ask and someone says, no, we don't have
to something
budget.
so frivolous.
So
And then you have to
easy.
say, wait, you don't have personal budget for that?
That part.
So that's the biggest disappointment.
the-
You know who your friends, write a book and you'll know all your friends.
In a real way.
Yeah.
I'd have
real
ended
way.
that
In a
meeting
real
so
way.
And
quick.
also,
I'd be like,
you
this
know,
meeting
this-
is over. Just walked out of that
Icky
office.
part, you'll know who's rooting for you.
Yeah.
That's the icky part.
Yeah. By the way, icky, yes.
Most people aren't rooting for you. Just drop that whole illusion. In fact, they'd be happier if you failed, because then it's like, yeah, it gives them validation why they didn't try. Like, oh, I wouldn't try. Why should I try? Look at how hard Steve worked and he failed. It's like, no, Steve is a winner because Steve tried. You're a loser because you hate on winners. Even if you were doing something, like, you can be working your way up. And if you're talking shit about the people that are trying, it's like, you're still a loser. Rest assured.
I mean, I think we're very close in real life, which, as you both know, my friend group is quite small. Like, it's predominantly family and employees.
Yeah.
Because employees are family to me. Like, you guys know that I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm happy is I also take note. I've got some crazy ones on that as well. I told you that
can't
was going to
imagine,
happen.
Yeah.
I reopened a round that was closed for someone that they made that kind of money on. Like, it was 3 months later. You know how impossible that is. And they bought 0 books. And but I'm happy because I don't have expectations. Like, I'm not icked out by it. I feel bad. Honestly, you know what's so weird? I'm so confident.
It's funny.
I actually feel bad for people that do that to me because I'm
You feel pity. It's so surprising. You can meet the richest person in the world, but you see them do something dumb as hell right in front of you. And you feel bad for them because you realize, like, oh, if you didn't have this, like, what would you be? Or maybe your success really wasn't all that skill. Maybe it was a bit more luck. And what an indictment, right? I'd rather have someone lean on me and be like, oh, Aaron got a little lucky, but he's good as hell at this, and this. It's like, that's a huge compliment. If it's like, Aaron's okay at this, but he would just happen to be, it's like, to hell with that. Like, I want to earn it. I want to rip it from the ground if I have to, but I want to earn it.
like, that's a mistake. Like,
Yeah,
it
but
really,
you'll
you know, like,
remember it.
I'm gonna
and you know what's
out-interrupt
funny? It
Gary.
might not
That's
be
my
'cause
goal.
I'm such an idiot that I still would probably show up for people that heavily disappointed me because I don't really factor people's actions into my actions.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this a lot with our generosity, right? I asked someone the other day, you know, if you're successful, I said this to this one person, do you stop giving back at a certain point? Because we don't.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh yeah, you do. At a certain point, you just don't look behind you. And I just couldn't get over that because like my actions will never change.
Yeah, same.
Sounds kind of shitty.
So a lot of people here will buy, a lot of people who listen will buy books. There's a very specific reason all these PR people hit me up every day because the sales come from the podcast. For the ones that are listening, break down the different people that should buy this book. Who's the demo that you think that's listening on the other side are?
Curious how detailed an answer they give, because knowing your demographic and the big three that I always am paying attention to, demographics, just like the basic characteristics, are they male, female, are they young, old, are they rich, poor, whatever. Geographics, are they East Coast people, West Coast people, Asian people, German people, like what type of person? And we're painting in broad strokes here because there's hybrid people everywhere, right? And the last is going to be psychographics. Are these people that are sad looking for happiness? Are they sad looking for, resolve? Are they happy looking for more? Are they frustrated? Do they have a specific goal? Like, you should be able to write not a novel, but a little chapter, very good chapter, a detailed chapter of exactly who your customer segment is. And there's your broad spectrum customer segment. Like, oh, we sell men, right? Men X, Y, and Z. It's like, great. Now, do we target all those men the exact same way? Or within our bucket of, targeting men, is it, oh, we target young men like this between 18 and 25. And then we target, the slightly older generation, 25 to 35 like this. Like, even within that, you can have super big differences for why someone buys the exact same thing. For the young guys, it might be capture your youth and, do all this stuff to lead to great success when you're older. For the 25 to 35s, it's like it's never too late. You know what I mean? Recapture your youth. Like, one's pointing forward to have success in the future and one's pointing backwards to, recapture some of that. And it's the same book or it's the same offering, but because it's positioned differently, the audience can hear it differently. Sometimes you can say the exact same concept to someone, but they can't hear you. It's like you're speaking a different language, and you change 3 words, and all of a sudden it went from a message to a message for them.
Aspiring entrepreneur, active entrepreneur, executive, kid hustler, 60-year-old pondering next chapter, all of the above, this way, that way. Here's how these people should think about it.
So yes, and yes. This is 30 years in the making. It's every mistake we made, every painful loss, every lesson. There are 50 cheat codes that we picked up the hard way. Not only about the business, but about life. Not only about how to build a business, how do you build a life that matters?
I should probably give this. I have my own little structure that I use for my stuff.
Right?
But hey,
and so if you're
never be arrogant. Always
you don't
learn.
Read this, you're negligent.
Because what if there's one note in there that makes me $1 million more?
Structure your calendar, to how to focus an organization, how to hire well. If you know aspiring entrepreneurs, a lot of people graduating.
If you're done learning, it's like a fish being done swimming.
You're about to lose your job from AI. Buy the book now. Because whether you want to be an entrepreneur or not, you're out of work. If you're a salesperson, you're probably going to have to do your own thing at some point. If you're a junior coder, buy this book because it'll help you get up and running.
I also think if you're about to buy a company, right? We see a lot of entrepreneurs by acquisition, right? This is the book. This is how you do it. We speak to a lot of kids. You speak to a lot of kids. This is the book to buy.
Oh God, another VR. These big empty rooms with VR, like I'm sure they're fun, but they just look so tragic. Like, look at that. Look at that. I mean, the kid's having fun, so whatever.
What's not worked that you thought would work?
Oh, great question.
So we were hopeful that social media would move books.
Yep.
It's created an incredible community. Mm-hmm. It's not where you sell books. For us, we started at 0. We have built a network.
Social media is hard.
Month reached 1 million
to convert with the amount.
Last month.
How many business books are out there? I'm working on my own business book. One more in the pile. Now, again, sometimes someone could read their book and my book has the exact same lessons and whatnot, but because I say it different and frame it different, someone could love theirs, hate mine, love both of ours, love mine, hate theirs. It's totally on the table. It's why you don't Doesn't matter if you're doing it similarly. It matters if you're doing it your way authentically, because an audience, large or small, will react to authenticity over perfection any day.
We look at that. We thought it was going to drive books. We look at that as just building the relationship. We should have known, because we have your book all over the place.
Well, have you made a direct call to action piece of content that you've run media against?
Yes.
Yes.
And so what are you
Many.
seeing there?
Not conversion.
Notice
to
Gary
sales,
breaking
but
it down.
definitely
He's like, no, I
conversion
wonder
to
why. I wonder if you could
followers.
do this. I wonder if you could do that.
So we're at
it's a
the point right now
strategist. That's what
where
it looks
we have
like.
2 weeks.
Yep.
And we're starting a blitz, which will include many more ads that we think puts our best ads forward. So everything we do, we're learning from. We have a whole data, capability, not just CRM, but who's visited the websites, who's following us, all that stuff. And frankly, we don't think social these days is for selling, until you have such a close relationship with these people, which we're starting to feel.
Sure.
I'd be cautious on that piece. It's like, I try not to find final rules or like final judgments, because it could be that they have a lot of money and they have a lot of success. They're running these ads, but that doesn't mean their ads are any good. Again, it could be that their ads are too big businessy, and they could just change the framing of it, or change the camera they use, or change the angle. All of a sudden they are converting. Maybe this is lessons learned from $100,000 in ad spend, but hey, sometimes it takes a couple $100,000 to learn something, whether it's man hours, dollars,
Starting to
emotional
feel
energy,
personal
whatever.
relationships like you have felt with people who have supported us, who've bought books, who want to get our attention. What's interesting is there have been people who've gone so overboard in supporting us.
They're super
just
fans.
to get our help,
Of course.
which we probably would have helped anyways. And we're walking out of this with probably 100 great friends who we didn't meet
And
beforehand.
people who show up to our Founders Farm, which is our community that we talk to like every other week, who are awesome. And they're like, we can't wait for this book to come out. We're going to do everything we can to push it. That has been really lovely.
Book tour?
Book tour.
Look at the strategist at
work.
work.
We've got another
But
one.
will you, when it comes out, or are you trying to avoid that?
We're doing-
It's hard.
I don't know if it.
This goes back to the reason I'm bringing
I
it
was gonna
up
tell you
is
one thing.
Yeah, go ahead, because I
The
won't forget
name
mine.
shit has been a problem on the book tour.
There's stores in parts of the country that don't want to have you.
Yes, and
Yep.
that's been an issue.
Which
And
we love.
Interesting.
Every time we get
we
rejected,
love that. We love that.
we
but,
want a product people love or hate, and
But
people who love
but I
the
wanna sell
cover
it.
and the.
and we can't get Amazon ready for this to allow us to do ads through social because of the name. They won't allow us to do ads.
But you can buy a
Some
gun.
people don't like it when you curse, mate. It's just
That's
the way it
crazy
goes.
part.
We're,
So,
we're,
like,
we're
there's
delicate
been
in
really
Buy
2025.
any
fucked
sex
up
toy you want
shit.
on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're
I've been
talking to
told.
somebody who's been fighting the cursing reality for 20 years. It's
Whatever.
one of
Fuck it.
the great silly things in our society.
Yeah, what was it we wanted to
But
do
we
in
knew
college?
this.
But wait. What's the?
So
Don't
there
name
was
the college.
there was a very prominent entrepreneurship program,
Like top.
Babson,
where it probably is Babson, where they were very interested because this is their textbook,
Thanks, Gary.
you're welcome.
and the only reason they didn't kind of incorporate it into
I generally like Babson.
Curriculum.
their curriculum was because of
The name.
And I said, listen, if your students can't like deal with shit and just saying that, they have no chance as an entrepreneur.
Crazy,
Crazy shit.
crazy.
Tender sensibilities will get you nowhere. And it's like, yes, can you build a company by Christians for Christians and do it? Like, sure. But this is one of those, again, just because you're not cursing doesn't mean you're not shoveling shit. Like, call it manure all you want. It's still the same thing in terms of like what the outcome is. And you have to play to your audience, right? And it's one of those, if they feel this passionate about the word, great. If that's the hill they want to die on, my question would be, and I'm someone that curses a bunch, and it's one of those, I can definitely tone it down when I'm in the right meetings. Like, I'm not going to curse in front of, very important, like super rich people that don't curse. I kind of take my read off the audience and act more like them in that way. But this is also, what hill is worth dying on? Do you care enough about your end consumer to change the title of your book, not for your sake, but for their sake? Like, they have kneecapped themselves to not get demand that they otherwise could. And it's like, okay, sometimes that maybe you don't get the brand here, but because people see that like, oh man, they're really principled and they stood on their stuff and they did this, like I got to see what else they did. And they actually end up making more money or getting more opportunity in 100 other places. Is that guaranteed? No. Is that likely? No. Could it happen? Absolutely. But it's also, what game are we playing, right? And when you have multiple products, not every product has to be a winner. You can have loss leaders. Maybe this is their loss leader product. But I often ask, and this is trouble when you get real successful, I've noticed, you become very convinced of your own greatness and that you know. And it's like, well, maybe you know some stuff. Maybe you don't, you're not Buffet, right? Meaning Warren. It's like, you know things, but you don't know all the things. And maybe there's still a few hard lessons to learn. Like for them, are you willing to shovel shit? Are you willing to change your name so that other businesses may live? Maybe.
And the guy had it, one of our really good friends who is a big supporter of Babson. I don't know if he's on a board. Is he on the board there, Babson?
Maybe, I don't know.
But he had like 500 to 1,000 books lined up for us. And then he gets to the top guy on the board who's just like, no, we can't have anything that would say something like that. I'm like,
Which
what?
says more about institutions today than anything.
Yeah.
Of course.
And we love Babson. I mean, it's the single best
Yeah,
entrepreneurship.
it's a
But
great
we're screw that, right?
I do some mentorship at Babson, or I used to when I lived in Miami.
Yeah, no
So
one's saying it's
Yeah, we
bad.
love
generally
And no one's
positive.
saying
And
that,
my
like,
favorite
no
finance
one reads,
professor
like,
teaches at
sports and you
Babson.
really actually have to do it versus reading about it. No one's saying that.
No one is.
It's not a book that we could have done like at any time but now. Like we needed time to basically say, okay, here's all
I wish we
of
did
the,
it earlier. What are you talking about?
maybe a few years earlier, but we had to experience.
We didn't have any
shit.
bandwidth to do it earlier because you know what the drill is.
Of course, especially
Bigger
the kids at
kids,
your age right
bigger
now.
kids, bigger problems.
100%. And you also were decompressing from.
I'd say bigger
30
kids,
years of
smaller
running a
problems,
ham
but that's just
studio.
me.
Yeah.
Like you guys were allowed to like go into that chapter of your career. Plus, it also happened during COVID. There were so many things going on.
Do you know what I think our biggest regret is? Not keeping up our community right after Buddy Media. Like we just went silent on social.
Basically, not listening to you.
Yeah.
We had dinner right after we sold, and you said, "Listen, I love your writing. I was doing a lot of
Yeah, I
writing.
remember.
You need to keep doing it." And we were just tired, and you can do anything, you just can't do everything, and that's one thing that
Minus
fell off.
you.
Yeah, but I think the other thing is that like
Things don't take time, things take focus. And it's, again, these people have lives and problems, and like they're humans like everybody else, human, all too human, as it were. But the only reason I want to mention this is because a lot of people that probably hear this video or hear their video think like, oh, like it's an excuse. Like, remember, they're busy with like $1 billion things, and even they found time to do this later. Like a couple more assistants and a couple more COOs, and they probably would have had even more time as far as it goes. But writing this book is 200 pages. It means you write a page a day, you're done in 3/4 of a year. Doesn't mean you're going to crush it every day, but even then, if you miss every third day, you still are done in the first year. So you can write a poor book in a year and then spend the next year editing it. And this is how long does it take you to write a page? In ChatGPT land, if it's taking you longer than 10 minutes to write a page of things, it's like, have it write it for you and then correct it. This is one of my favorite things. Like, there's no excuse for output anymore. The output doesn't have to be very good, but you can output 50 tweets today. So don't tell me you don't have time to tweet. Just tell me you don't care to put in the effort to tweet. I'll believe that all day long. Or I don't have the time to do all the review of the Twitter to make sure it's high quality. Yeah, because you're going to bed at 2 a.m. I don't want you to stay up till 2:30 because you're going to be tired to do the other shit you need to do tomorrow. But don't tell me you don't have time. And what if you put in 100 tweets of time, you train a chatbot to talk like you, now you only had to sink in 10 hours to really nail these tweets, and now the rest of them, even if they're not perfect, they're 8 out of 10 quality like you. And maybe that just supplements. What if every 3 tweets a day, 2 of them are AI generated that sound like you and are on topics you care about? So now you only have 1/3 the output, and you learn and you grow and you learn and you grow.
I'm sure this book and this adventure for you guys has been really eye-opening, especially the way I see you guys connect with people on stage. Like, I'm sure it's not lost on you two, especially knowing that your youngest is going to college in the fall. You have so many more chapters in front of you
Yes.
in a way that, like, knowing you so well, where I don't have predictions. Like, I don't know if you'll start another massive company or continue to just do the investing, heavy-handed, being involved, private equity type stuff. But like, you may go all the way to one extreme, all the way to the other extreme, and you'll probably do that multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, do I think you have 3 years in front of you, 6 years from now, where you're more checked out than you've ever been? I'm like, yeah, that would make sense, because that would mean for the last 6 years you've been doing this
Yes.
and other stuff.
Yes.
And then do I think after those 3 years you're like, wait a minute, like,
Yeah.
Sometimes you can take a
in
break from the
general,
marathon, mate.
The reason
You can
I'm probably
chill for a
saying
bit,
this is I
but
want people
if you're hungry,
on the podcast to
you always
hear
come
me
back
on
to
this.
eat.
I don't understand this concept that humans think everything is absolute and you can't just adjust.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
I remember my sister really wanting, I could feel it through every phone call interaction, even though my mom put being a stay-at-home mom on such a pedestal
Yeah.
that my sister was propagandaed by it. And she could not wait to do it. She was in retail, then she was a great teacher. Now she started her family, and she was excited for it and living that life. But after about 5 or 6 years, I could just see it on her face. I'm like, and I said to her, I was like, just like in a kind of like shaking moment of like on the phone with her. I was at the airport. I remember this moment so well. I was like, sis, you're allowed to change your fucking mind.
Exactly.
Like, I get that you've been told and you decided for yourself for 40 years that, like, or 30 years, whatever it was at the time, like, you're gonna be this stay-at-home mom, just like mom. Like, you're allowed. And watching her go through the process of being a real estate agent and now doing that and now balancing both, she's a dramatically happier person.
There you go.
And,
Sometimes
like,
the
you're
answer is not
allowed
less,
back to
it's
shuffling
more.
Shit. Like, everybody, if like your business sucks right now and you hate it, like, you're allowed to shut it down or sell it.
Yeah.
And a big part of this book is
Yeah, but don't stop building a business. Stop building a shitty business, right? Build something better. Build the current thing different. Man, I love my product, my team. Well, fire everybody. Start over. Like, as long as you own the IP, like, life is a single player RPG with a moderate amount of rules. Like, this is free choice. You can walk around and just do whatever you want. You can put your skill points in anything. You can go to the gym 24/7. You can go into the boardroom 24/7. You can go do sales 24/7. And here's the best part. It doesn't take a lifetime to learn a lifetime of skills. It doesn't, because most people are just killing time at their jobs. They're a sales rep for 40 hours a week or whatever. They're working 10 hours a week, which means if you actually put in 40 hours a week of sales learning, you're doing a month of learning per week. After 2 years of that, you're kind of good, especially if you didn't stay learning and repeating. A lot of people want to learn the same thing over and over because it gives them comfort that they already know what they need to do, instead of going like, okay, I know this, but I don't know this, and I'm going to I got to use what I have here, the skills to help me in this department, and then I got to learn new things along the way that'll get me over the next hump, and then once I'm here, up, up, up. And this doesn't mean you have to continue to chase the infinite mountaintop. It just means that don't tell me that you're at the top of the mountain when you've only gone up one little peak. Look up and see what else is out there, and then decide for yourself. Are there things up there that are worth putting in the effort for, making the sacrifices for, etc.?
It's miserable and suffering, and going through it is difficult, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
And
it's like parenting.
Yes.
It's being able to hold
It's
those.
golf
If it
and
works.
parenting.
Again,
It's like you have
survivorship
one good shot
bias is a
against you
brutal thing.
Like golf. And I think inside these companies, for a lot of people, we find our purpose, right? And we had lost our purpose in many ways.
Speak for yourself.
I had, I was painting.
I don't like this, and not because she's interrupting. They disagree with each other too much in public. It gives a bad vibe for co-founders. Like, I wouldn't want them disagreeing in a boardroom. It's something I tell my founders. I don't care if we disagree privately. I care that we agree publicly. And they're talking to Gary, and he's a longtime friend. He's probably seen them disagree all the time, but that's happened a lot in this video. And it might be totally fine and cool. And again, I don't know if they're in a relationship or doing whatever, but it's like, or it sounds like they're husband and wife or whatnot, but it's like, you want to show unity. There is strength in unity and support. And even if they're wrong, as long as they're not like wrong, where it's like, hey, you're like lying to the police. If I don't correct you, we're going to jail. It's like, that's one thing, but it's one of those, if you can support your partner, like, do it, even if that means staying quiet.
And you know this. I was painting. I was a little lost. And it took me to say, this is what I do.
I don't want to hear from you. You got him. You fucking enabled it. You got him this
Got him.
little
I got
apartment.
him out of the house. He was painting on the floor.
But what happened was I realized that this is what we do. And it's why I found my purpose, the passion.
Yes.
I would get up in the morning when I was painting. I'm like, I'm the worst. Like, I used to love painting, but hobbies are things that you suck, but you love.
Listen, let's send Gary one of the pictures.
Yeah, if you want one of my fucking paintings, have a painting. But it's
I woke
beat myself up.
I woke up this morning at 5:40. I was in Nashville yesterday just to play 6 a.m. basketball. It's my hobby. I suck.
But you
I had
love
a
it.
really bad day today. Like, I was like 2 for 18 from the field.
Hey, a little honesty from Gary. Respect it. Respect.
But hobbies are, you're right. Hobbies are things for a lot of people that you love that you're not as good at. To your point though, why I love entrepreneurship for a lot of us, it's minimally half hobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why it's so great. For us.
See that guy standing while everyone else is kneeling? That's Jonathan Isaac.
Hi, Jonathan. Bye, Jonathan.
I know I can speak for the three of us. Like, we really like it. Like, we really like it.
See, I like I said from the beginning, I like the grind. I like having a purpose every day. It's not that I'm sitting there going, oh, I have to fill my day with something, because Mother's Day I spent by myself, alone with my dogs. I guess I wasn't alone with
That's
the dogs.
what you wanted?
That's what I wanted.
Good for you.
Silence.
And I was out of town.
Yeah.
Well, I would have asked for it anyways. But the purpose, the getting up.
Or were you like at a fish show?
Where did
He
that
was playing
win?
golf.
Was there value in that little
His 21st
comment?
birthday.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Playing golf. I was right.
Yeah, well, your son.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
don't
Correct.
sandbag him here to the audience.
Come on, lady.
I appreciate
nice-
that, Gary.
nice
Gary's one of the few people
reference.
who will actually, call Cass out. Which I
No.
love.
We're just trying to support you. And that was like,
Thank you.
when you said golf.
Oh, look,
was
I called
pissed.
it. It's like,
No,
And
you're
then when you said
being-
Cole, I was
and
like,
again,
oh,
it's
good
not
job.
because she's
you-
a she.
you
Let's
set
just
up
be
a
very clear.
trip.
It's because
Mike
she
and I
just seems to
My
be being a
sister did
pain in
say
the
that.
ass
She
right
was like,
now.
this is what I want for Mother's Day. Like, you're allowed.
I love that everyone's like, oh, I want to be around my kids on Mother's Day. Are you kidding me?
It does seem.
Are you
You know
kidding
what's,
me?
You know what is funny? I wonder. I actually
No
believe
comment.
that there's a
Whatever.
valid point that Mother's Day should be when moms just don't hang out with
There's
anybody.
no reason to be around the children.
There's already a movement around Valentine's Day called Galentine's, where it's like, screw the husbands, just the women go and have fun together, right?
Oh, I love everything
Why
about
Isn't that
don't they
what
do
girls' night
Mother's
out
Day
is?
like that?
Well, first of all,
Or is that
it's
something
holiday
different?
holidays. Let's just go right there.
Yeah, and by the way,
Like,
speaking for the
celebrate it.
fathers, nobody gives a fuck about Father's Day
Yeah, of course.
compared to Mother's Day. Like, if you want an indication
reason.
of where we are in society, like dads, like somebody
There's
throws
the
like,
reason. You don't
some
like the
underwear
reason.
at them at like 9 in the morning,
And a
like Dad,
tie.
and then that's
Tie.
like, and they're like, Dad, go do some shit. Like it's like
Dad, go
fathers-
shovel the driveway.
And a tie. Like
Yeah,
you
and a
gotta
tie.
remember
Yeah,
ties.
shitty
I used
ties
to
for
give my
dad.
Back
ties.
back
Hang
to the
yourself
book.
with. Just kidding.
It's obviously on the precipice of being released, but people have read it at this point.
Yes.
Because now it actually exists.
Yes.
What's the biggest compliment you've gotten from someone who's read it? And what I mean by that is, what did they call out that neither of you saw? Because I think the best and coolest part about writing a book.
Quick comment, just because it's been on my mind. I work with a lot, or have worked with a lot of husband and wife teams. It can work. It won't work. It's not that it can't work. It's not that it's one of those, you can make a lot of money, but your journey is going to be harder working with someone that you care for than it would be working with someone that you respect only, right? It's one of those, there's a distinction, because there's a certain level of honesty that you kind of can't get to, right? And you think like, oh, but I can be extra honest. It's like, good luck. You good luck with that. You tell me how that works. When you get back from Narnia, you can come and tell me how your adventure was with Aslan. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be in reality working with people. That's why when I work with companies and they're in relationships, I just am very clear with things. You can't manage your wife can't manage you. and I don't even talk, this isn't a discussion. This is, you guys don't have discussions because you guys I'm not discussing this with you. This is a reality. We can fire either one of you. There's no protecting. If there's any protection in any way, and this is what I do in my companies, I will quit. I will quit immediately. If I am like, hey, what's going on here, here, and here, and husband jumps in, you're done. Get out, right? And if you don't get out, I'm getting out, and that's the end. And then when people ask me, Aaron, why'd you leave? I'm going to tell them, and it's not disparagement if it's the truth. It's just the truth. Now, can it work? Yes, but you got to be tough. You got to be willing, because there is no perfect entrepreneur. People are going to mess up. And if you can't call each other out, or you can't have a third party to do it, you're going to, at a minimum, suffer more, make less money, be less productive, have a worse culture, have awkward executive meetings. The list can go on. So if you're going to do this, one, don't do this. Have your wife start something else, or you start something else, because if you're both are competent enough to build a business, you can build different businesses. You do not have to spend every waking moment together. What is it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I'll see you for dinner.
Is when you get feedback on it, you've been in it for so long and you think you know everything about it, and then somebody you admire or respect gives you some flowers on a piece of it, and you're like, oh fuck, I didn't even like... Has that happened yet?
Actually, I like that point. Just because you value part of your book or part of your product doesn't mean that the customer will. Likewise, just because you don't value a chunk doesn't mean that they won't love it as well. It's not up to you at the end of the day. Like, the artist can't tell the audience what to love in their painting. For some, it could be the color. For others, it could be the feeling they get. For others, it's the visual it reminds them. You can only do what you can, which is be as authentic in your creation as possible, and hope and pray and fingers crossed that care and appreciation and engagement will be found for any reason. Maybe it's for the reasons you want, but it's one of those, are you trying to make you happy or the audience happy? And if the answer is the audience, well, then it doesn't need to be about you. Building it was about you. Writing this book was about you. Naming the book is about the audience.
I know mine, but
You go first.
You go first. What Cass
so-
thinks of hers?
I'm trying to think of mine that was specific.
there was a mom who came to one of our meetings. We
Yep.
do these Zooms
Yep.
with the Founders Farm, and she started crying. And she said, for the first time in my life, I have given myself grace to realize that it's okay to work hard and slack a little as a mom, because she felt that she was an awful mom and not performing at her best at her company. It's an event.
Even that language, I don't like, and it's not him, but it's like, are you slacking as a mom if you just take a little time for yourself? Like, that's slacking. Like, people are so hard on themselves, they don't dictionary the words they use, and then they're like, well, slacking means I'm like shirking responsibility. It's like, did the kids eat? Are the kids in school? Is your husband alive-ish? Like, you're doing fine, lady. Like, just because you get to spend 2 hours, one reading a book you like and the other working on whatever e-commerce store you want, or becoming a realtor like Gary's sister, that isn't slacking, right? That's just being a human, right? You are a human first before you're a woman, before you're anything else, and you're yourself first before you're a mom. Like, mom came way later. It may define you or be a big part of you now, just as fatherhood defines plenty of people, but an attribute is not the whole story. It's just one of many attributes.
Company. And the book helped her realize there is no balance. She needs to be, kind to herself, and just realize that she prioritized family and work. She can't do everything perfectly.
Every day's a grind.
And it was that imbalanced life that we captured that has given a lot of people a mirror to say, what I am doing is okay. And I'm building a life that I'll be able to sit back maybe later and enjoy some of the spoils, but my kids will be okay and the company will be okay.
In fact, one of the most profound moments of my career happened on a speaking tour in Asia where
People forget that by making yourself better in one regard, it always bleeds into others. My founders that started at one level and then got pushed and just grinded both through myself, the business experience, their other advisors, what have you. Their relationships are different. The way they think is different. Their posture is different. There are people that have gone through programs that I've hosted that meeting them at the end, they feel different. Just the way they shake your hand, the way their shoulders are set, just the way they explain their business. No ums, no uhs. This is what it is. And that carries over. You think you're going to just all of a sudden have that experience and then just go on your date and be like, oh, I don't really know. And I'm so nervous. It's like, no, you're just going to go up there and be like, I may not be the big dog, but I am a dog. Like, I'm here. Like, I'm a presence, and I'm going to do this thing, whatever this thing happens to be.
I had like a VIP event after.
Gary Flex and VIP.
Turned into me having to hang with like 20, 30 very successful people. So it was really fun.
Double flex.
Young. And
triple flex.
This young woman said,
this lady's probably 40.
Got into deep philosophical shit. And this young woman said, kind of like jam sessions.
Yeah.
And this young woman said something that I will never forget to the day I die.
Money over everything.
She said that growing up, she really resented her mom because her mom was one of the 5 biggest judges in the Philippines or Singapore, I don't recall. And she said she turned 20 and she had this moment of like clarity where she realized, yes, my mom missed recitals and stuff of that nature. She's like, but oh, fuck. I'm in university with all these girls, and I just realized something. My mom showed me how to live.
Yes.
She didn't tell me how to live.
Yeah.
And I was hanging out with all these girls that had moms at home who told them what to do, but didn't show them what to do.
It's your own perspective, where you get value from.
It crushed me to my core. Because
you can be busy and neglectful, or you can be busy and attentive. It takes nothing to wish your daughter good night and good morning. I don't care how busy you are. There's a certain level of busyness where it's like, listen, lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. Don't be telling me. You know what it is? Nobody knows your name. If your name isn't Elon Musk, it's not Zuckerberg. You're not that busy. Take it easy. Be nice to your kids, for fuck's sake.
What
It's pathetic.
People don't tell each other enough is kids, you have 3, I have 2. Kids are all different, and they're all going to get different things. You know, me and my sister are pretty close in age. The way my sister and I view our childhood, what our parents did, is different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Different perspectives.
It's different perspectives. And so whether you over coddle, under coddle, whether you stayed at home or went to work,
you got to do your best,
you know,
in business and life
or
and love
the
and all
reality
this
is,
nonsense.
You don't know how
You
your
gotta
kid's going to
bring
perceive
it.
it. You might be doing a disservice in the thing that you think is servicing them, and it's a really interesting game.
So, my example was going to be about this other woman who came up to me, and again, she was just very emotional about, I just really feel like I'm going to fuck my kids up. Like I'm going to fuck them up. And I said, well, it's not necessarily going to be because you're working. I said, you got a whole long list of things that can come before working.
In fact,
That's
there's
fair.
a lot of
That's
parents
very
who
true.
save their kids by working because if they were around too much, all that neurotic horse shit that they have would have went on them even
the
more.
very true.
I'm being dead serious.
Sure, I am too.
And I think us not being around early would have been a good thing.
But what she said is, you said your kids are okay now. And I said, what was interesting is in the last 5 years, I've really realized, both Mike and I have realized that you can say whatever you want to kids, but it's going to go in and out of their ear. But if you show them, right, you actually show them how to live, how to show up for people, how to have a work ethic, how to have values and morals and do the right thing, that will stay with them. And so she said to me, I listened to you on stage and you said your kids are all right. And all of a sudden I felt like everything was worth it, what I was doing. And specifically, like, my kids know that working hard is a virtue.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, it's also something that writing the book.
Small counterpoint, just as for food for thought. Are they all right, or do you just want them to be all right? It's a very human want for things to be okay. Sometimes they're not okay. Like sometimes you do mess up and you end up in prison, right? Sometimes your kids say like, oh, everything's cool. But then the call on Mother's Day happens in the evening, not in the morning, because they either forgot and just like the reminder told them on their phone at 9 p.m., oh, by the way, or they were anxious or they didn't care, or maybe the call happens the next day. Sorry, mom. It's like, this is one of those things where it's hard because there's no perfect parenting. There's no perfect entrepreneur. The only question is, did you really do the best that you could? Or do you think that you're just need to tell yourself that so that way it's okay for you? Like, if we really care about our kids in this example, or our customer in this example, it's not about if you're okay. Like, you as an individual, yeah. But it's like, you remember, you could have messed up and they could not be okay. And it doesn't mean you have to like end your life. It doesn't mean like the world is over. But part of it is going like, man, they don't seem okay. Or it's like, are they really okay? Right. And if they're not, it's one of those, you can't turn back the wheel, but you can take actions today that change the future. It's like, I couldn't be there then. Correction. I chose to not be there then. But I recognize, imagine you're on my dad or whatever. It's like, but I'm choosing to be here now. And I am sorry. And I can't put Genie back in the bottle, but I can at least do my best from this moment onward in whatever level you will allow me to. And it's a dance, because you're not dictators of your kids. If you think that you are, wait till they grow up and hit you in the jaw. And I bet you learn real quick. It's like, you're only a temporary supervisor, for a while.
We had to take stock of our life. And
Which you
I
like
haven't
that part.
talked about this really anywhere.
Oh, here we go.
But, right before my bar
does
mitzvah,
that
my
mean?
dad ran into some massive financial issues.
Where?
And he made it clear that he didn't want to live. And I didn't understand it at the time,
Of course not.
right? Because you're young. And it's a relationship that I basically wrote off. We have a relationship, but we really don't. You've met my stepfather and my mom. You haven't met my dad, right?
That's right.
And there's a reason. Writing the book made me realize how difficult companies are on mental health, especially if you run into major financial issues.
Yep.
And then those financial issues start to
I have a
impacting
bad back.
your
Don't judge
personal
me or
relationships.
judge away. Do what you won't.
And I would just encourage everyone who have severed relationships or relationships that aren't great to give a little mercy, which I didn't do. But part of writing the book, I realized that, oh man, I learned what I know about mental health from.
You don't give mercy for their sake. You give a lot of it for your sake. It's one of those like, remember, if someone's wronged you, what do you owe them? Do you have to turn the other cheek so that they may strike it? It's like, no, my personal opinion. But if you're holding on to this ball of hate and resentment, it's like, what if you just let it go? Not because it's going to make them feel better. If it does, it's incidental, right? Sure, why not? But more for your sake, like, don't you as an individual deserve a level of peace? Isn't history littered with people that have had happy relationships and sad relationships and good relationships with their parents and horrible ones and orphans and everything, people that would have killed to be an orphan compared to what they were dealing with at the house, right? It's one of those, we all have our circumstance. It's a question of, what you do with the gift of life that, again, what is it, Mewtwo, that determines who you are. It's like, thanks, Pokemon.
That example, right?
Exactly.
And I need to kind of forgive him before anything, which has been a process that I figured out in the book.
Wish your school better fit your needs? It's not too late
No,
to
I
choose
don't wanna be in
Primavera
school.
Online. Switch in mid-year.
It's really powerful what you just shared, Mike. It makes me think about the thing that I wish more people could get to, which is your dad and so many people today are so worried about what people think about them.
Oh, yeah.
The reason so many people jump out windows when they lose their money in Wall Street is they're not capable of going backwards.
And the shame.
That part. But where the shame comes from, worrying about what people think about them having to go backwards. I think
It's absolutely true. And it's also like, you don't respect the people whose opinion you think, like, there are people that you hate that if they don't like you, it makes you upset. It's like, what kind of next third fifth level, you know what I mean, chess is stupidity is this. Like, this is insane, right? What's the old Fight Club thing? Like, you spend money you don't have on clothes you don't need to impress, on things you don't want to impress people you don't like. It's like, exactly. What if you just impressed you? What if your whole life was predicated on the idea that I want to grow up to be deserving of the handshake of me at 80? It's like, whoa, like, forget what anybody else thinks. That guy is in a different realm completely. To earn that handshake, it's going to take me 79 years of hard work, I imagine. You know, game on.
Think about this a lot. I think about this a lot because I've always really almost romanticized going backwards, which is super sick.
Gary's a little twisted on this point, and it's only because he's a winner that this point is tolerated, because he wants to go back. Again, he treats it like a sickness, because it kind of is, right? Again, you would, if going backwards meant your kids couldn't eat that well, would you be as excited to go backwards, Gary V? I think not. I think you are quite happy to go forward. What he's saying here is, I like a challenge. And challenges don't mean you have to cripple yourself. Sometimes it just means doing something difficult. So I wish, and he says this message a lot, and I wish he would frame it differently for his own sake, because what do you mean by backwards, right? Do you just mean a small misstep, or do you mean if we collapse your entire company, you're in financial ruin? Like, I don't care if you feel enlightened. Your kids can't eat and your wife is nervous. Like, shut up. Be a man and move forward. Don't be romanticizing failure. Get back to work and build the success. Focus on the failure all you want. Cool. But it's like, you don't get anywhere from that. You get somewhere by building things.
I mean it. I talk a lot in my content about liking the Rocky, where he goes back to like
The basics.
there's just something, this is just why I adore my mom so much. There's something in me that, like, you know, if I text you guys, I'm like, hey, just want you to know about some personal matters. Like, I have to sell my apartment. Like I don't view that as like I'm not scared of people being like, oh, you're a loser, or this and that. And I feel like definitely when your dad went through that, nobody had the capacity to go backwards. And I will say that most people right now could have a much better life if they could live within their financial means. But they're not willing to sell their home and downsizing their home. They're not willing to.
Everybody wants
take
to
the
flex.
BMW and bring it back.
Flexing
And
to themselves for a bunch of
I believe
assholes.
the
So
keeping up with the
stupid.
Joneses thing is the great pandemic of our society. I really believe that.
Agreed.
And it's why I never share any content ever in my career.
Forehead so
Never
shiny.
have.
Why?
That speaks to anything bougie.
Yeah.
You know, I don't show the things that my hard work has afforded me because I don't think it brings any value.
Right.
I do not believe it is aspirational to show someone a private plane or an incredible vacation or diamonds.
Right.
I believe it's actually hurting people.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I think that is right. And there are a lot of people
By
who are.
the time you earn those things, the price you had to pay to get them, it's the reason, like, you see a lot of like the richest people in the world, they may wear like a $400 shirt, but that could be -4 pennies for them. Like, it means literally zero. So to them, it's the equivalent of a $1 shirt, but they're not wearing 50,000 in diamonds, right? At least all the time. Zuckerberg's been upgrading his wardrobe, right? He's Mr. Cool Guy now. But by the time you can afford really nice, expensive things, your concerns change. It's like anything else. If you only knew that by the skills you need to get what you want will fundamentally, the developing of those skills will fundamentally change who you are and turn what you want into something that you can or cannot, or, you know, that you can do without. And then other things that you want, whether it's, I want to give back, I want to, you know, build more things, I want to do this with my kids, I want to do whatever. They always take prime importance because it's a different person there, right? The skills change you, the road changes you, the journey changes
Showing
you.
it and living in their parents' basement and creating this environment where, like, it just looks like everyone's crushing it, but you pull back the curtain.
Or the parents' basement.
The
It's not that
facade of
extreme. They're
success,
doing
so
it by
boring.
maximizing credit cards.
Oh, I made $1 million
by living
last
way above their
year.
means.
So?
You know, it's like, it's not, you know, the reason I'm double clicking on that is I want people to understand, especially ones that are doing it right now.
So
Like,
boring.
you know, that intense story Mike shared, that's really on the edges of like how bad it can get. But I do believe a lot of people are depressed.
People feel that, even if they don't say it, or I don't know if his dad like had an
And
attempt or anything.
comparing,
Hopefully
right?
not.
Yes,
You know, life's pretty precious, but
joy.
In a way that's crazy, you know, like you and I, the three of us grew up in entrepreneurial times together. When you guys had your incredibly massive event with Buddy Media and Salesforce, and when I visited you in your very incredible third home outside the U.S.,
flexing.
those were joyous moments for you. None of your winning felt like that I wasn't winning. We need to get to that place universally.
Yes.
If we got to that place universally, there'd be a very happy world.
Big time.
Envy and jealousy is foundational.
And there's
our
levels to
problems.
this thing. This is why a lot of entrepreneurs don't have a lot of friends, or if they do, they're very select, because you need to find people that not only can empathize with your with the struggle, but also with the success, because success comes with its own costs, whether it's people don't like you anymore, family members come after you, all of a sudden you have 37 cousins and you were an only child your whole life and didn't know nobody. It's like, yeah. But this other side of it, if you can find people that actually want to see you win and are excited for you as genuinely as they can be, you want to hang around them because they're not threatened by your success. In fact, they might even be encouraged by it. And you may even find opportunities to collaborate, but that's not why you're there. You're there because it's like, hey, you're someone whose table I'd like to sit at and a conversation I'd like to be a part of, regardless if you're rich or not. You just happen to be rich in this scenario.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. And
it's important that you're talking about it.
I've out interrupted Gary V. I win.
I think it really matters.
Win,
I think,
Gary.
We're talking about shoveling. We're talking about an entrepreneurial book here.
I wonder if eventually
But what
I'll
we're
end
doing
up on
for
this
all the entrepreneurs
podcast. It
and
would
a
be
lot of the
so
entrepreneurs
silly.
and the aspiring entrepreneurs is we're talking
I
about.
would quote
the
something
only thing that
Pokemon
has
related
ever made
100%
anyone
just for
achieve
shiggles.
Entrepreneur success, mental strength. This is the hardest game. There's a reason there's so few of us. There's a reason there are so few of us who literally live their full life with 100% of the financial responsibility on their neck.
yeah.
And not only that, when you start a company, you are agreeing to let people see you fail in public.
Front row seat.
And I remember at Buddy Media, at the end, we'd raised $100 million. And one night, I
much
turned to Cass, I'm like,
money.
this doesn't work out. We're fucking dead.
Why are
We're
you
like, we're
raising
done
so
forever.
much?
Like, because
Right,
we
our
respect
reputation,
real.
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think
If you can build your business without raising 100 million, trust me, do. One of my founders, they're building a marketplace and they're crushing it. They're doing like $1 million like a month or way more than that. And they got advice, same advice I would give them, but they received it from another party, and thank God they did. And another one of their founders sold, like their buddy who's a founder sold their business for a ton of money, but they'd also raised like literally $100 million. And the one piece of advice they said, stop raising equity. Raise debt or get better to being profitable, but don't give away everything you've worked for, because if you raise 100 million, you probably own very little unless you're just amazing and, you know, the coolest guy at the whole school as far as negotiations go. You're probably going to own so little, and then you're just surrounded by people that all own your business. You become your own employee. Horrible. You know, you should fire yourself.
we're real entrepreneurs, but real entrepreneurs are ones that grow the business without venture capital.
Does this hat say possum?
Venture capital provides a safety net. And I say this all the time. We were just on a podcast. Who's your favorite entrepreneur?
It does say
I said,
possum.
Gary,
It's like
because
he
he
heard me.
doesn't raise money. And by the time he does, there's a reason,
Don't raise money.
right?
Yeah.
And I
Raise it
think
when you need
that
it. If you need it,
kind of
raise it. Find
hustle,
partners,
like,
biz
how do you
dev,
get
yada,
customers
yada.
on
Don't
board?
raise
How do
money.
you get cash flow to grow the business?
Well, that's what makes selling books so interesting for you guys, right? Because it's a different game.
Yes.
It's a different transaction.
And we were
game.
okay going to zero and starting again. And what's weird is maybe we're sick fucks. I don't know. But we fantasize all the time about maybe we were happier when we were.
No, you're just bored
like,
and
poor.
rich.
And I'm like, no, we weren't.
Find
Like,
a
we
new
couldn't afford
hill.
healthcare. We
Get into
couldn't-
CrossFit.
But you know what? You weren't
Develop an
poor
injury, a shoulder injury,
you're
and then
obviously in a
nurse
very
that for
different
12
financial
months.
stratosphere. You were happy because with golf.com and with Bunny Media, you were building.
golf.com.
The reason you
I like
guys are
golf.
alive in a different
We're
way.
builders.
You're builders.
Yes,
Like
yes.
that's the part, right?
Yes.
You're not custodians of.
Right. And that's
you're not
where
renters.
That's where I have to say, if I'm being totally honest, I didn't love being a VC because I'm a builder, and I didn't think it
when you're a VC, you're a fan.
Yes, and I didn't feel close. I
Yeah,
didn't
you're not
feel
on the field.
like hands
Cass,
weren't
you're not on the field.
Yeah, yeah.
You're a fan.
Yeah, I'm just
You know, you're a
not-
supporter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go to the Garden tonight, and I'm like, I want the Knicks to win so bad.
We
but like,
see you.
but I'm going to cheer.
Yes.
And like, that's kind of no different than when I write a $50,000 check to a startup. I'm
Right.
like, I'm cheering
from the side.
You know, I'm cheering.
Yeah. And
And so we're not raising another VC fund.
Good for
we
you.
will be launching businesses.
To invest your own money, but
Pizza
you don't
places.
need to raise a fund.
Cass doesn't know about
point.
this yet, but we love pizza. Everyone loves pizza.
That's it makes me so
And we're buying companies.
sad.
We've bought, healthcare staffing.
When you that one,
Yeah.
like when you guys again,
we
just
love that.
I know it's where I'm about to go with the podcast, taking the curtain away. When you guys and I talk in real life, and you bring up that thing, you bring up that thing in a different way than you do
Yes.
other stuff.
Yes.
You feel better about it.
Yes,
You
exactly.
like it more.
Totally.
You're in deeper.
yeah.
We can
And
build culture.
we can-
One of the first things we did is do a profit sharing plan.
Yeah.
So company's been around for 25 years, incredibly profitable. They never felt
Yeah, the impact.
success.
Yeah.
And so it's how do we run our playbook of like, it's your playbook of
Yes.
empathy
Yeah, we
and
share-
passion
we
and
share
hard
that.
work and accountability and leading by example. And when you own more than 50%,
You can do
make
it.
an
you
impact.
be the boss. You have to be a benevolent dictator.
Yep.
But you-
like the barn owl in V Friends.
Yes. Or the possum.
You were
Like
possum for
Lord
you.
Veterinaries and
Well, listen,
Discworld.
Shoveling Shit. You can find it everywhere books are sold. By the
Love-
time you
love him
listen
with a
to
G.
this. But I think we go to Amazon and hit it hard to get that rank up. I do say this often, but I think a lot of you know this. Cass and Mike are truly family to me, and so if you can support this book, if you run an entrepreneur school or a hub, I'm looking for dozens and 5s and 7s, and if you got 4 kids that all are entrepreneurial, 1 for each. Support this book. I really believe they put their soul into it, which makes it so valuable. The way books are priced, I just find this so valuable. And so, Mike, Cass, thank you so much.
Thanks for
you.
having
Loved
us,
it.
Gary. Love you.
Love it. Really good session. Really good, really good topics covered in authentic ways. So as much as I was being critical, it's good, right? I'm sure they'd be critical of 1,000 things that I do. So what? It's like they don't care what I think. I don't care what they think. How about that? And I'm sure we'd be the best of friends. But this is one of those, hopefully, my guidance, my goal here when I react to stuff like this is to give you context and some practical applications, some little extra tidbits that, again, they're doing a podcast. So they have to be a little pithy and they're editing all this stuff. I can just pause the whole thing as you see, and then just give you guys some extra thoughts. So hopefully this is helpful. If there are other videos you want me to react to, please comment them or send them to me. I like reacting. I got YouTube on my second monitor all damn day long, so I may as well react to some things. So until then, see you in the next video. Peace.